Whoops.
She felt bad.
See, my mom makes that. Take it.
Good evening, everyone. It's 6:01. It's April 9th, 2024. And we're going to call to order this meeting of the Gallatin City Council Committee. And with that, I'll ask Ms. Kittrell to call the roll for us, please.
Vice Mayor Love. Here. Councilman Carter.
Present.
Councilman Fan.
Here.
Councilman Fennell.
Here.
Councilwoman George. Here. Councilman Hayes.
Present.
And Councilman Juvance. Mayor, we have a quorum.
We actually have everyone present, so good to see everyone tonight. You have two sets of minutes to approve. The first are from March 12th of 2024. The second are from March 26th of 2024.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Councilwoman George.
Second.
Second by Vice Mayor Love. Any additions, any corrections requested?
Good job.
Seeing none, all in favor of approving both sets, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say no. Minutes are unanimously approved. We'll now go to public recognition. This is a council committee meeting, so all public recognition is actually at the beginning of the meeting. So if you want to speak to an item, whether it's on the agenda or just something in the community that you have interest in, now would be your time to do that. So with that, I'll open public recognition.
Renee Saunders, 2092 Rodman Boulevard. And I made this point once before, but I see today's meeting agenda is 144 pages long, and I cannot just press on a PDF and go to the item that you guys are going to be discussing. I have to keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. And I thought, I know we had this discussion, and I thought you said that you guys might be working on this some kind of way,
Yeah.
but 144 pages is just way too much. And okay, I'm going to show you what I can see, and you are welcome to
Yeah.
tell me.
Yeah, we're not supposed to respond during the public comment, but I bet Ms. Landstrom could help you. But the bookmarks, I haven't tried it on mobile, but the bookmarks work great on a laptop. So it may be that it's not mobile optimized, and we can work on that. Ms. Okay. Next, please. And I failed to remind you all to introduce yourself, that was Dr. Renee Sin. Oh, you did? Okay, you got it, okay. Yeah, if you introduce yourself and give us your address, you'll have 5 minutes.
Hi, Carolyn Seagraff on 1066 Lakeshore Drive here in Gallatin. And I've spoken up here a few times before in our city council meetings and thought I'd try a new approach. I tried the planning meeting. I would like to speak a little bit about the banks of Lot 4. I've been attending these meetings for a considerable amount of time. I feel like I now know this whole committee because I have seen you so many times, which has been a pleasure. It's been interesting. But at this point, I was just thinking, you have an enormous amount of power and authority and responsibility. You know, you're the ones who can make that decision when it comes to the final plan for this Lot 4 development. You're the ones who are going to decide the density. You're going to decide how that's going to look in the character of this whole neighborhood. You're going to decide where that outlet comes onto Lot 4, if it's going to come at Aqua Drive, where people will come up over the hill and there will be a danger and you know, I mean, accidents are going to happen. And people will fly over it like they normally do and not expect that. You have the ability to maintain the character of this whole neighborhood and this whole area. You know, you have an enormous amount of power, and I'm just, you could resolve 75% of the concerns in which we've been expressing now for over a year by just doing a few things to make it right. You can, I don't know exactly what all would be involved in making the developers find another way out of the subdivision, a safe way out of the subdivision, a nice 4-lane road or something major that will get them out of there without going to Lot 4 or Peach Valley. I don't know, the city might have to contribute something to that building process, but again, that's within your power. The developers are bringing you something, but you're not, I don't think your response, or you have to accept what they're bringing you. Aren't you the ones who decide what they're going to build and what they're not going to build? And if you don't like it, they're not the only developers in the country, right, or in Gallatin. I think if you decided you didn't want to go with them because they aren't willing to do the things that you want them to make this a really good development that fits the neighborhood, and people aren't saying they don't want neighbors, we just don't want the traffic and all the things that go with that enormous amount of density in that area. But if there's another way to get that density out and not go on the current roads, which you know are not sufficient, they're not wide enough, they're not safe, but you have that ability. So I guess I'm coming now and asking you to use your authority, leave a legacy for the whole city, for this whole region, because you're capable of doing that. You're the ones doing it, not us, I mean, obviously, I think we've had some compelling discussions. I think you've had old people, young people, people who've lived here for decades, people who've just moved to the area. Everyone sees the problem. And I know you do too, but I don't understand why you're so intent that this is a developer and this is a plan and we want to go with it. You can tell them, right? Am I wrong that you can't tell them what they can and can't do and how they have to do it? I thought that was what you do. That's your responsibility. So I was figuring one last ditch effort here before the next meeting to kind of bring that up and just ask you to really think about it. Think about what you're doing and use your power to do something that would make it right for everyone. And really, you will get rid of this room full of people every 2 weeks, trying to beg you to do something to make it right. And on that happy note, let me just add a few other little things that I've noticed. One is, I don't understand how the city approved building those lovely townhouses in front of the plantation right up on the sidewalk of Nashville Pike. I just thought I'd throw that out there. I don't know why, every time I pass them, I go, what lovely townhouses, why are they right up on the sidewalk? Everything else in the city on Nashville Pike, you made sure was off the, set back. So I don't know where that came from. And then I had one other thing that I don't understand. Duncan Street, I have, my niece lives on Malvin, which is off of Duncan. When you expanded that and made that a throwaway all the way up to the Publix, I don't know why you didn't make the developer put sidewalks all the way down Duncan to Maple, or enlarge it. Once you get, where it opens up, once it opens up, you go back to your little narrow Duncan Street. And then it opens up wider for those apartments or condos or whatever they are as you go on around and you get to Publix. But now that it's a throughway, people are flying back and forth up and down that road because there's no stop signs. You just keep right on going. So again, I don't know why you did that either. So I think that's suggestive, what I wanted to share with you tonight. But just please, you have the power. Please use it, okay? Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Sandra Kelly. I live at 103 Jones Street. And the first thing I want to mention is I was the one who brought up the scrolling. And that little, on a laptop, that works great. But on my phone, you don't see that table of contents. Anyway, just a side note. So number one, we need to vote on the Phoenix. I think we as citizens have a right to vote. It's our money you're going to be spending. It's a huge project, and I think we need to vote on it. And I want to speak to item number 5 on the agenda, the purchase of the Chamber of Commerce. Why are we having to buy it? If we own the land, but we don't own the building. I'm thinking of the electric company at the end of Jones Street. They sold a bunch of those little houses that they had bought, and they had a sign that said for sale, must move. One of them moved right across the street. Why could they not, if the chamber owns it, why could they not sell it and have it moved? Why does my taxpayer dollar have to pay for it? I don't understand that. Anyway, where did you come up with the number? I'm assuming you had it appraised. I hope you did. And we've known for a year that they're going to be moving. Why didn't, they could have sold it. They had plenty of time to do that and get it moved, or, come up, isn't there another way rather than spending our money, our taxpayer dollars, to buy it? They could have been looking into selling it for a long time. Anyway, with the stipulation that it be moved when they move out. I think that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Ms.
Thank you.
Kelly. Is there anyone else that wishes to speak this evening? If so, you may come forward to the podium.
Good evening. I'm Josh. I live in a community near 386 and Harris Lane.
Need your address and full name for the record.
I'm not at liberty to say that right now due to an impending lawsuit against our builder and possibly the city, depending on discovery. I'm here to talk about quality of work from developers and the quality of inspections done by the city and building department. A little about myself. I've been in the trades for 22 years in one way or another. I've built multi-million-dollar homes in excess of 20,000 square feet, small homes, large commercial projects, heavy excavation projects, and utility projects. I've done everything from interior casework for dozens of museums around the world to include 36 different states, to Lou in France, Ho Ha China, the Pro Football Hall of Fame, Country Music Hall of Fame, and every NFL team's Hall of Fame. For the last 10 years, I've been doing heavy excavation projects, the most recent project being the TVA ash cell project here in Gallatin. I'm currently working on the North Slope of Alaska as a foreman for infrastructure projects on the Willow and Pica projects. I have extensive experience in home building, utilities. My father's company is a premier home builder in the western upper peninsula of Michigan. I've been around this trade my entire life. That's a little bit about my professional experience and my background. Everything I'm discussing tonight with you is based on my professional opinion and my expertise with professionals in this city. My fiance and I have a home built by a large home builder from Alabama. They do work in multiple states across the South. Our experience with them has been a total and complete nightmare. Their level of professionalism is absolutely at a zero. We've had the vice president of their company in our home that wouldn't even discuss anything with us unless our phones were in a separate room and our security cameras were off. They tried replacing our roof 6 times after I noticed improper installation of our roof the first time, each time progressively making it worse. Now they have acknowledged the roof needs to be replaced. I did not want the same company to try to do it a 7th time. So I asked for me to pick a reputable local builder or roofer in the area. They agreed, but only offered us $8,000, to which they would tax us as an income. The middle estimate we got for tear off and replacement was $19,000, so the $8,000 minus the tax on that was nowhere near sufficient. This is only the start of our problems. After digging into it further and getting a structural engineer to our house, we found out it is not structurally sound. The major girder truss going from one side of the home to the other is upside down. The truss engineer won't sign off on it, and it needs to be completely removed and flipped right side up. The walls supporting this are not sufficient either and are missing bearing point transfers under the girder as well as tie-down straps for the girder. The wall is 19 feet tall on the vaulted ceiling side of my house. The wall should have been 2x8 or PSL studs. However, it was done with 2x6. Per IBC code, a 2x6 cannot exceed 13'6". The wall is now bowing outward now. Our home needs extensive work, being only 3 years old. The cost of this work has amounted to $450,000, which is more than the purchase price of the home. We are going to be displaced from the house for a minimum of 6 months and as long as to a year. We have an 8-month-old baby, 4 labs, and 2 cats. Our only option for a short-term rental is an Airbnb, which is the cheapest to an equal square footage, bedroom, bathroom, and level of niceness as our own home. The minimum cost for this is $27,000 a month per Airbnb. These charges, among other repairs, storage, moving, incidentals related to this amount to over $1 million. Our attorney we hired is local to Gallatin and has informed us on what we can expect. A suit was filed last week. These big developers like D.R. Houghton, Ryan Homes, Davidson Homes, Lennar Homes, Beazer Homes, among others, do not care about quality. Their motto is more or less quantity over quality. As previously being in project management, I know that generally speaking, a builder will accept 3 bids for subcontracted work, typically goes with the middle bidder. However, in these cases with these large developers, they pick the cheapest possible as well as the cheapest materials possible. In the end, the person that suffers the most is the middle-class buyer that has no knowledge in how a home is assembled.
Sir, your time is up. I'm sorry.
I figured you would do that. All right, I'll be back next week to finish this off.
5 minutes. I had a timer. I'm sorry. Okay, is there anyone else wishing to speak this evening under public comment? Seeing no one, we'll move on to the agenda, and the first item on the agenda. Oh, mayor's comments. Thank you, Ms. Hamacali. Just a couple of things. I do want to mention the Sumner County trash pickup that happened last weekend. In spite of a very unusual and uncomfortable experience that I had, it went very well. We picked up lots of trash, and we had many volunteers participate. And all over the county they did. Not quite as many showed up as we had hoped. I think the weather probably chased some people off because it was a bit chilly, especially early that morning, but wound up being a beautiful day, and they got a lot of trash picked up. I don't know if we ever got the weight on what we picked up, did we? We haven't yet, okay. But seriously, so much thanks to the people who participated and volunteered to help pick up trash on that day. Want to update you on just a couple of things. One, this is Telecommunicators Week, so if you know someone who works answering the phone when we dial 911, please tell them thank you for what they do. They work hard in a very stressful situation, and we as citizens and certainly our first responders are grateful for the work that they do every single day. Coming up on the 19th of April is the Special Olympics. They're at Station Camp this year. On the 27th is our Square Fest. That's an all-day event. It's a festival in historic downtown Gallatin. If you've never attended, I would encourage you to do so. And then coming up on the 3rd of May is the Rosemont's Run for the Roses. Happens on Kentucky Derby Day. Always a fun event. Benefits a property owned by the city. I would encourage you to check that out, certainly if you never have. It's all the events I have. I'm looking to the department heads if there was something else I was supposed to mention and failed to. I guess no. Okay, so we'll move on to the regular agenda then. Item number 1 is ordinance 02404-17. It's an ordinance appropriating $2,364.64 from insurance recovery to replace the damaged portable radio.
Good evening, Council, Mayor. This ordinance is appropriate, as the Mayor said, funds from insurance recoveries to the fire department's radio account line item to replace a damaged portable radio that wasn't able to be repaired by our radio vendor.
Motion to move it on.
Second.
Motion by Vice Mayor Love, second by Councilwoman George. Any questions, any discussion? All in favor of moving forward to council meeting ordinance 02404-17, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Does pass unanimously. Item number 2 is resolution R2404-27, accepting public improvements by the City of Gallatin and Twin Eagles Phase 14A. Mr. Tuttle, City Engineer.
Thank you, Mayor. Item 2 and 3 are very similar resolutions for street acceptances in Twin Eagles subdivision phases 14A and 14B. These are the new, I guess, the phases that we did an annexation on back a couple of years ago that go back towards Douglas Lane. So it's a portion of Maya Marie, a very short portion of Lilac Drive, and then also an extension of Wildcat Run. And the other section in 14B is Dottie Drive, which kind of completes the little sections there. So Planning Commission gave unanimous recommendations for acceptance, and we ask for you to do the same, please. On 2 and 3.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Hayes, second by Vice Mayor Love. Is there any question?
Eileen.
I'm sorry, Councilwoman George. Heard a female voice that direction. So any questions, any discussion? Okay, we're going to vote on moving forward 2 and 3, phase 14A and 14B from Twin Eagles on to City Council. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. And for the record, that's also resolution R2404-28. Item number 4 is discussion on a Hancock Street road diet study for Hancock Street from the Maple Street Dan Heron intersection, State Route 109. Mr. Tuttle and Mr. Hickson, I guess.
Thank you. Yeah, we've had a lot of questions about this. We do have a short little slide presentation to help to talk about what we're proposing. I think, oh, looks like we got it. So just to start with, the City Council did give permission to repave Hancock Street between 109 and Maple Street, and of course, Maple Street on up to Highway 31E. So it's basically that loop right there that connects 109 to 31 around the high school and Rucker Stewart Middle School. And so when we do paving projects, we also try to look at ADA compliance, other mobility things. If we've got things within our major thoroughfare plan or other plans that have recommendations, we try to knock out a lot of those little things when we're doing the repaving. So as we were looking at this, we had some thoughts about it, but our former city planner, Mr. Bill McCord, had made this suggestion and recommendation for years and years and years when we were looking to repave the section of Hancock Street of taking a look at whether or not it made sense for us to do a road diet on that section of Hancock Street. So as you can see by the slide, we've got just a couple things that we are looking to make some ADA upgrades, signal upgrades at both the intersections of Hancock, Maple, Dan P. Heron, and then also at Maple and Nashville Pike, West Main Street. Something else that we all talked about just a few weeks ago was, as TDOT is repaving on Highway 31E, adding bike lanes to that section of 31E from basically up there at Volunteer State Community College all the way down to in front of Vic Jenkins dealership where it returns back to the 3-lane section. And so going forward with a road diet would actually set us up to really connect some more of the mobility that we'd be adding for bicyclists. And I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Hickson here to get into what we're talking about when we say a road diet, because it is kind of a little bit of a funny image. And I think he looked for a piece of clip art to have a little fun with that, but nobody was creative enough to
Yeah,
work with.
yeah, I didn't have enough time to make a funny image for that. So what is a road diet? So it's generally described as removing travel lanes from a roadway and utilizing the space for other travel modes. And that definition comes from the Federal Highway Administration, or the FHWA. And you can see here on the left is a 4-lane undivided highway, and then on the right, it has been converted to a 3-lane with bike lanes on each ride. So some benefits for a road diet: it includes reduction of rear end and left turn crashes due to the dedicated left turn lane. It's got reduced right angle crashes as side street motorists now have to cross 3 lanes versus 4 lanes. There's fewer lanes for pedestrians to cross. It allows the opportunity to install pedestrian refuge islands, bicycle lanes, on-street parking, or transit stops. There's a traffic calming and consistent speed benefit due to it being 1 lane in each direction. It allows for a more community-focused, complete street environment that better accommodates the needs of all road users. And it's a low-cost safety solution when planned in conjunction with a pavement overlay. So here you can see some examples of crashes. So on the So on this 4-lane undivided section, it's showing 6 different potential crashes. So you've got this left turn going across 2 lanes of traffic. Here you've got people that weave in and out of the 2 lanes. And then you've got potential rear end crashes here for people making left or right turn lanes, or right turns. And then when this is converted to a 3-lane section, you just have the potential crash for people making left turns, a rear end for people making right turns, and then people that are entering the left turn lane or the center turn lane at the same time. Also on this one, you can see This has 8 conflict points, and this is for intersections where somebody's trying to cross all 4 lanes. You have the potential for crashes at each one of those, and then converting this to a 3-lane, it lessens the number of crashes. And then on the bottom here, this car, sometimes you get the situation where you're turning across 2 lanes, and if that second car in that outer lane is hidden behind the first car you see coming, you might think you're good, and then that leads to a potential crash, whereas when it's converted to a 3-lane section, you can see a lot better. So the next thing is actually doing a road diet study. So the study guidelines were given to us from TDOT and from the Federal Highway Administration. These are large entities that deal with roads and traffic a lot more than we do. The Federal Highway is federal, so they've got lots of examples to go off of, and they've created these guidelines. So first, TDOT, they developed a road diet guidance manual to assist local municipalities with criteria for changing roadways within the right-of-way. And this table here just provides different analysis levels, and that's based on the average daily traffic. If you're on level 1, you just need to do the initial screening. And then if you go all the way up to over 30,000 vehicles a day, you need to do several different studies to go through that. The second guideline is regardless of the level of study, you need to do a safety analysis, which looks at the latest 5-year period of crash data and then compared to the statewide crash rate. And then the FHWA, their informational guide recommends good candidates for road diets that have a average daily traffic of 20,000 vehicles per day or less. So on to the results from Barge's study. So their 10-year projected average daily traffic for 2033 is 8,956 vehicles per day. And that's, TDOT has a counting station on Hancock, and for the year 2023, it counted 7,987 vehicles. As far as crash data goes, there was a total of 30 crashes between January 1st, 2019 and December 31st, 2023. None resulted in a fatality or a serious injury. 17% resulted in a minor or possible injury, and there were no incidences that involved a vehicle striking a non-motorist. And based off of that information, the crash rate and critical crash rate falls below the statewide average for this typical section of 4-way. And then Hancock meets the threshold for level 1 on the previous chart, and it's a good candidate based off of the less than 20,000 that the FHWA guidelines have. And, you know, like I said, it's 20,000, and we're talking about just under 9,000 for this roadway. So we think it's a great candidate. So I provided some existing aerials of Hancock Street from 109, taking us back to Dan P. Herron. I tried to find some aerials that kind of showed the striping. You could see here that some of are faded. It does show 2 lanes in each direction and then a dedicated left turn lane onto 109 that then kind of turns into a 2-way left turn lane. And then here comes up to the Green Wave Drive intersection, which at Green Wave Drive stops the left turn lane, and then as it continues on towards GPU and Dan P. Herron, it goes down to that 2 lanes in both directions. And then finally here at Dan P. Herron. So this is the proposal that we got from Barge that shows the striping. You can see we've got a buffer here for the bike lanes on both sides, and you've got 1 lane in each direction and a center turn lane. Not a whole lot changes in this. Then at this around Green Wave Drive, they are showing some pedestrian crossings with some flashing beacons to help make motorists aware that there could be pedestrians crossing. And then Continuing on, we've got the center turn lane, the two lanes, I think it's a 2-foot buffer area before you get to the bike lane. And then ending here at Dan P. Heron. So in summary, based off of the guidelines from TDOT and FHWA and the analysis that Barge has done for us, we believe that Hancock Street is an ideal candidate for a road diet. This road diet does not require any additional funding because the striping and signage costs are already included in the budget for this project. Added bike lanes will create a more community-focused, complete streets environment that helps connect the TDOT bike lanes along 31E. Just to quickly summarize the benefits, overall reduction in vehicle crashes, fewer lanes for pedestrians to cross, provides a traffic calming and more consistent speed. We've had several calls in the past from PD of motorists speeding through this area. And then if there's no objections to this, we will implement this to our overall Maple and Hancock Street Improvement Plan. So the proposed aerials that I've shown were just a draft and changes can still be made. One of the feedbacks that we got was, what about Rucker Stewart? Because sometimes in the mornings, it backs up. So we're looking into that. There may be a scenario that the two lanes need to stay from Green Wave Drive to 109. And in that case, we think Sharrows can just be implemented there. But I believe the resurfacing is scheduled for sometime in September. So we still got time to make changes to this, but we wanted to get this in front of you and get y'all's feedback.
Floor for any questions, any discussion, thoughts, ideas? Curiosities?
Seems like a good idea. That Rucker Stewart thing is something to consider though, in the afternoon too.
Absolutely, and I live in that direction. I travel this road every day. Looks good.
Well, I think it's as the city continues to grow, we want to accommodate more types of users of our roadway system, bicyclists, pedestrians, and vehicles. And the less accommodation we have for it, the less people are going to feel comfortable in using those things. So we have to continue to create these streets that are complete environments that people feel safe to either bike or walk. And so this is another step in the right direction, we believe. So if you don't have any objection, we'll continue to develop this plan out, and you won't hear from us again until you'll see it on the road. So thank you for your thoughts and time. And we did think it was important to have a little piece of education on it too, just because it is a little bit different. You don't see this everywhere. I think we saw maybe one example in Mount Juliet recently, but it doesn't happen every day. And we don't have candidates like this every day to look for opportunities like this. So, sounds good.
Explanation, and I think people may come up with questions as time goes by, and
Sure.
I'd encourage you to follow up and ask them of engineering.
Yeah.
Did you have a thought, Mr. Fennell? No. Okay.
Yeah, it'll probably be late summer, as Aaron said, before we are able to repave this section. So we've got a little bit of time if you want to talk.
I'll
Thanks, Ed.
ponder it and follow up if you have concerns that arise or hear from people that are concerned. We appreciate it, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Very much. Okay, moving on to item 5, which is ordinance 02404-18, appropriating $290,000 for the purchase of the Chamber of Commerce building. Ms. Nichols, the finance director, to introduce it, but really, I guess I can say everything I need to say. First of all, the ask from the chamber was actually $280,000. I had put it in there wrong because I recalled it wrong. But I also want you to know that Ms. Hamacali has advised me that there's a council member who has concerns and would request that we defer this so that they may study it further. So it's the will of this body what you all want to do. If you want to defer it or if you want to keep talking.
Make a motion to defer for 1 month.
Motion to defer for 1 month by Councilman Juvance.
I'll second.
second by Councilman Hayes.
I got a question too. If we do defer, is that going to hold up anything as far as us, them, what?
Just, I think uncertainty for their planning purposes, but, they had, trying to move forward with them as,
Is it possible to pick it up the next meeting?
well, we have a motion to defer for 1 month and a second, so it's proper that we vote on that first.
Can we ask why?
I'd like to know
That's
why
the
also.
reason?
That was my question. Who wants to defer it and why?
There was an ask to study it further. I think
Who wants to,
Be enough.
I don't understand. Who wants to study it further?
I can just say there were some concerns about a couple things. One was the lease and the purchase requirement in the lease, and then also with the appraisal. There were some concerns that I was asked to look into with the lease, and then I think there were some questions about the appraisal.
Well, the appraisal was a lot higher than the sales price. So it seems like that's in a good direction.
It's like $100,000 more.
Yeah. So
Are you going to look in these items then? Is that what you're doing?
Yes, if this body
Okay.
wants me to, then yes, I am.
Question,
I thought you had your, oh, okay, I know what you're.
question to you then, again, can we do it sooner than a month? Or
that's not the.
I mean, this is a work session, so this is not the make or break on what you ultimately decide to do, so.
I mean,
So you-
the current motion is for a month.
Yeah.
If you're asking me, can I expedite this? I will do my best to expedite whatever this body asks of me.
I have a motion and a second to defer for 1 month. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
I did not hear a vote from Councilman Fennell, but I heard no from Councilwoman George, Vice Mayor Love, and Councilman Carter, which would be 3.
I'm gonna make a motion after this.
Okay, how did you vote?
No.
Okay, so no, so that's definitely at least 4 noes and 2 yeses. And
I'll, go 4 noes and 2 yeses. And I don't know where to,
We don't really know what the reason
4 noes and 2
is.
yeses, it fails to be deferred for 1 month, so there.
yeah.
Okay, my motion is, let's discuss doing it in 1 or 2 weeks if we can get it done.
Okay, well, this is a work session where we would discuss,
So it would need to come back to a work session.
So Steve's saying week after next.
Yeah.
So what are we going to do from here to there? I mean, why can't we discuss it now?
Susan's got to check into something.
Because of the lease involvement.
Is this something you can
Yes.
answer here?
I prefer that if I'm going to look into this, I look into it and I kind of report back to you. It's, as I've explained to some people, it's difficult for me to advise this body publicly without divulging a lot of information that I would rather not divulge right now.
Is 2 weeks enough time?
Yes, I would think so.
I'll second Steve's motion deferred for 2 weeks.
okay, so to the next work session, to be clear. Does the next work session actually happen in 2 weeks? Let's check that. I'm not sure. Yeah, so today is the 9th, so that would be on the 23rd. So to defer to the 23rd, have a motion by Councilman Fan to defer to the 23rd. Was there a second? Yeah, you seconded it, right? Second by Councilman Hayes. Motion and second, any discussion on that? All in favor of deferring to the work session on the 23rd, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. It is deferred until April 23rd. I am making a note. Okay, moving on to item number 6, Resolution R2404-24. Ms. Nichols, resolution authorizing the mayor to sign a contract with the United States Department of Energy for an energy efficiency grant.
We're asking permission for the mayor to sign this sign this contract with the U.S. Department of Energy. There's a clause in it on indemnification, which normally we don't have in our contracts, and because it's in this one with the federal government, we need your approval before she can sign this. The grant, if we're awarded, we will be replacing 3 existing old HVAC units with more high-efficiency units at 3 locations throughout the city.
What's different about this that they're asking that we don't usually have in our contracts?
There's legal language about indemnification of the other party, which we normally cannot do, but since the other party is the federal government, you can approve us signing this.
It's not legal according to the Tennessee Attorney General. We don't allow that in our contracts, and it's in our contract administration policy, but it's also in our contract administration policy that you can override that policy. And this is something that the federal government will not change. I think the likelihood of there being an issue that we would indemnify is pretty low in this case.
Then I move that we send it on.
Second.
Motion by Vice Mayor Love, second by Councilman Javance. Any questions, further discussion? Okay, this is Resolution R2404-24. All in favor of moving forward to council, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Does pass unanimously on the council. Item 7 is Resolution R2404-26, resolution to appoint Mayor Paige Brown and to reappoint Derek Smith and Ken Thompson to the Historic District Commission. I would be serving as the representative from the Planning Commission. The other 2 are currently serving and wish to continue serving. So here we are.
Move.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Carter, second by Councilman Hayes. Any questions, any discussion? Councilman Javance.
Thank you, Mayor. Who's leaving out of the commission?
Pardon me?
Who is leaving?
Johnny Smith has, Wilson, Jesus. I'm sorry, that was rude. It's Johnny Wilson. He is a good man, though. Johnny Wilson is the current Planning Commission representative, but he is no longer on the Planning Commission. He resigned at the end of last year, and so I was willing to do that. Just
Which Johnny Smith is it?
Johnny Wilson.
Johnny Wilson.
Johnny Smith.
I've confused everybody thoroughly.
You did.
Okay, this is Resolution R2404-26. All in favor of moving forward, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Does pass unanimously. Item 8, dangerous building, 1192 and 1194 Meadowview Drive. Noel Martin, family, LP. Request for a show cause hearing on dangerous building.
Good afternoon, Council. Charles Durfling with the Building Codes Department. Tonight, we'll bring for you a property located at 1192, 1194 Meadowview. This is a duplex that was damaged in the storm back in December, and I think there might be a representative here tonight. Okay, I was mistaken. And we're requesting a show cause hearing for a dangerous building to be for this building.
Um, 30 days is the
Motion
notice
to
we
sit
needed.
on.
Wait. We need to issue a show cause complaint for a hearing, and I would suggest that date be May 7th. Has to be between 10 and 30 days. I would suggest May 7th.
Motion to send it on for a date of
Second.
May the 7th.
Second.
Thank you very much.
Motion by Councilman Hayes, second by Councilman Carter. Are there any questions or discussion? Even though he's already almost sat down. No, I think the picture was pretty compelling evidence. So all in favor of this, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Unanimously moves forward to May 7th. That concludes the regular agenda. It brings us to other business. I do have 2 road closures this evening I need to present to you. These are both for Historic Downtown Gallatin. One is for April 27th. The second is for, well, let's see, she's got both dates on this one. Okay, so one is for the festivals. One is April 27th, one is October 5th. So it's the downtown square area. It happens on Saturday. The starting time would be 10 a.m. For Square Fest and the Main Street Festival. The ending time is 5 p.m. The closure, it says 10 a.m. to 5 p.m., but I guess that's because they're moving stuff in and out after that point. But the closure also has to extend beyond that some amount. But it's closing the square as typically so. Water from Smith to Broadway, Main from College to Locust, and the public square from Main Street to Water. On those dates, April 27th and October 5th, it does have the signatures, and this is something that we have done for many
Motion to approve.
years.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Hayes, second by Vice Mayor Love. Any questions? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Does pass unanimously. The second is an application, and this would be for the State Farm Third Thursday Concert Series event. These happened on June 20th, July 18th, August, I think it's August 19th and September 19th, whatever the Thursday is in August.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Closure time 5 to 9:30. It closes Public Square from Main to Water and Water from Main to Franklin. Have a motion by Councilman Hayes, second by Vice Mayor Love. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, say no. It does pass unanimously. And now I'll ask if any member of this body has any other business. Seeing none, we will go to department head reports. Any department heads have any business you want to share this evening?
Yes, ma'am. Rosemary Bates, Economic Development Agency. A couple of updates. The construction for the Shalom Zone refurbishing of a wing for a daycare. We had a pre-construction meeting today. We still don't know exactly what date they'll be able to start construction. We've got to get some things approved by the state fire marshal, but I wanted to let you know that project has moved to the point where we are getting ready for construction, even though it has taken 2+ years to get to this point. So thank you for your patience. And the other is the Clearview Park improvements that we had a pre-app with planning for that project last week. And my understanding is they have submitted it for planning approval for this next month. And I will bring you some more information about that later. There is a situation with the funding where when you include some drainage and some other things that we may not have enough for 2 pavilions. We may just be able to build one with the money that we have. But as soon as that is posted on the Planning Commission agenda and everything that it looks like, I'll make sure you know where to find all that and see what's going on there. I think that the architect has done a really good job understanding the needs of the community and giving that community something that we can all be very, very proud of and will actually be able to use often if we want to. So I just wanted to give you those 2 updates. I'm happy to answer any questions if you have them. And the gun range, they're putting up drywall and they're moved under roof, and that's actually moved along really quickly since we fixed all the drainage issues that were out there and the subsoil stuff that had to be fixed. All right.
Questions, y'all?
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bates. Anyone else? Okay, one final motion needed. Motion by Councilwoman George. Second by Vice Mayor Love. All in favor say aye. Everybody have a nice night.